We're always told to be grateful, right? But what if that advice sometimes actually does more harm than good? In this explainer, we're going to dig into a really crucial distinction, the line between genuine, nourishing gratitude and something the source material calls toxic gratitude.
So let me just ask you something straight up. Right now, in your life, is everything really okay? Or are you maybe just pretending it is? Take a second and be honest with yourself, because that answer, well, it tells you a lot.
And that leads right into this big question. When you say the words, "I'm grateful for what I have," are you really feeling it? Or sometimes is that phrase just a mask? A way to kind of silence your own pain or even escape from what's actually wrong.
And that's the thing, isn't it? The truth isn't always pretty. It can be super uncomfortable. But figuring this out is absolutely vital for your well-being. So let's break down these two very different faces of gratitude, starting with the one that can really trip you up.
Okay, first up is what the source material calls toxic gratitude. And look, if there's one word you need to remember for this, it's this one: escape. This is when gratitude stops being about appreciation and starts being a shield to hide from reality.
So what does that actually mean? Well, it's basically a form of denial. It's a defense mechanism, right? It's when you're going through something tough, feeling that real sadness, but you just intentionally ignore it all and plaster on a smile with some forced positivity.
The source calls this a sick game of Pollyanna. And wow, that phrase just hits, doesn't it? This isn't just looking on the bright side. No, this is a performance. It's a frantic, forced positivity, a mask to hide what's really happening underneath.
This idea of a harbor is the perfect way to think about it. Toxic gratitude feels like a safe little bubble you can run to when things get rough. But here's the catch. It doesn't solve a single thing. It just numbs you. It stops you from ever actually facing the storm.
So, if toxic gratitude is all about escape, what's the alternative? The source calls it real gratitude. And just look at that keyword. Instead of escape, we have confrontation. Totally different vibe.
And this definition is everything. See, real gratitude isn't about ignoring your problems. It's a feeling that shows up after you face them. It's that genuine thankfulness you feel for your own strength and for what's good in your life, but only after you've done everything you can to deal with the hardship head-on.
Okay, so we've got these two powerful, clashing ideas: gratitude as an escape and gratitude as a confrontation. Let's put them side by side just to make the difference crystal clear. So here it is in a nutshell. On one side, you've got toxic gratitude. It's passive, it's an escape, and in the end, it just numbs you. But on the other side, you've got real gratitude. That's an active, courageous process. It's about overcoming stuff, and the result? It genuinely nourishes you. One hides from life, the other dives right in.
All right, so how can you figure out which one you're practicing? This is where we turn the spotlight on you. The source gives us a few really powerful questions to ask ourselves. Let's walk through them.
First things first, you got to ask yourself honestly about whatever it is that's causing you pain. Is this situation really set in stone, or are you just accepting it? Could it, if you really tried, actually be fixed? Could things be better? This question is all about challenging that feeling of being powerless.
Okay, next, let's dig a little deeper. Let's get analytical. What's the root cause here? Where is this problem actually coming from? And once you know that, what practical steps could you take to fix it, instead of just being grateful it isn't worse?
And finally, here's maybe the toughest one. If you look closely and realize, hey, this problem is tied to my own actions, my own choices, are you willing to accept that trying a different path could get you a different result? This is all about taking ownership. It's about recognizing your own power to change things.
You know, when you start answering those questions honestly, you find yourself at a major fork in the road. It's really the difference between being stuck and actually moving forward with your life.
And this is what it all comes down to. Really. It is so worth it to take a quiet moment and just ask, is the gratitude I'm feeling right now justified and real, something born from resilience, or is it just an escape hatch I'm using to avoid a hard truth?
Because if you don't, well, the source paints a pretty stark picture. You risk getting trapped, you'll just keep spinning your wheels, stuck in the same emotional mud, going nowhere, all while telling yourself how grateful you are to be there.
So I'll leave you with this one last, huge question. One to really think about long after this is over. When you look at your life, at the way you think, which kind of gratitude is yours?